How are you guys doing?
Great.
We did one of these last night, and it was very fun. And it is not a very tight scripted thing. So if you want to ask each other questions, or if you want to anything of that nature, that would obviously be all good. Just wanted to bring you guys out so you could talk about your films a little bit. Did you guys want to maybe introduce them for the audience without, I guess, any spoilers on your end? But
Okay. Darth Vader is not my father. My film is it's called Demon Box. My name is Sean, as you've heard. For those that didn't see it, it's a fun romp about generational trauma. It's a story about. I feel like we should describe each other's films and see if we got it. As a challenge, isn't that rude? That'd be a terrible thing to do.
Let's do it because, like, at least it'll. Yeah. Let's try.
So I go first.
Yeah.
Okay, your film is a beautiful, beautiful film. Why don't we just show them? About a girl, and it's not her grandmother, but it is her grandmother. It's not her grandmother.
It's like her unrelated.
Yeah, unrelated grandmother, but we call Grandma Lovely, who is a delight, and they have a bond, and they kind of are a lot of things for each other. And then as Alzheimer's / dementia sets in, sort of seen through the kid's lens, the kid is ending up being a caretaker for the grandmother, and the inventive ways that she tries to engage with her and keep her safe, and how their joy, and I'm just going through a lot of the film. I wasn't prepared for this thing I proposed, like a fool.
I was.
I can't wait till you. Well, you watched my film more recently than I saw yours. I saw yours like a week ago, whenever you sent it.
No, I.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, oh, but I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm gonna totally nail your film.
I am ready.
Okay. All right. Well. So and then without the spoilers, yeah, it's
That's okay. That's like the first time someone asked me what my film was about. I replied exactly
like I did right
Yeah.
now. So this ineptly, you're saying?
No, it's just like hard to get a log line in your mouth, like really hard.
I think
Like,
I had
it's
one.
like-
I think I had one earlier when I was watching it and being like, "Oh, this is what this film is about. This is the clarity of it." And then I can't. But I tell you, going back in the past, I had a really good one
Okay.
for you about your film.
In the past, okay. Sean's film is called Demon Box, and it deals with intergen. You said it. Can you help me with this?
Intergenerational trauma.
Intergenerational trauma, and it's about a boy with a Holocaust survivor grandparent. And in this film, it's told through a horror
Yeah, magic realism horror
yeah,
lens, I guess.
it's not like flat out horror, but
It's also
horror.
not horror because it's Holocaust and a kid
Yeah.
suffering through stuff.
yeah. So he's suffering through trauma and nightmares and like sleep paralysis. Maybe. Okay, I felt like it was such a good depiction of like nightmarism and sleep paralysis, but maybe you didn't intend it to be sleep paralysis, but I felt like it was exactly like when I had sleep paralysis, but I obviously wasn't seeing like soldiers or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, I guess
no, I would agree with that. I also had sleep paralysis, and that hit me with that as well. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but yeah.
I did not, but yeah, because I've suffered from some of that too. But it was definitely not in the intention of the film.
it's like I felt like, well, the terror of it was very real and like similar in terms of like I would see a figure like approach my bed. I don't know why. I mean, I know why because my head's messed up. But I was truly scared is what I'm trying to say. And I feel like that's a pretty big accomplishment, like because you dressed up like a person as like a soldier, and then the father as the, would you say prisoner or would you say
The grandfather?
the other man who comes in,
Yeah, so
that's not the soldier.
The dad is coming in from his day of work basically and being like, "Shut the fuck up! What are you doing?"
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the dad who had dialogue that went away, but yeah.
Okay, yeah.
He's
They
coming.
were-
He's meant to sort of appear as a threat, and then kind of that gets deflated. But he's a different kind of threat
Okay.
in the kid's life.
Okay, I see. I remember now. Yeah. Well, it was like truly terrifying, which is, I think, what you intended to
Yeah,
do.
that's the hope, and then other stuff happens. But
Yeah.
then the film is also about it failing as a film, or me feeling like it failed as a film, and exploring how I tell stories and why I tell stories, what I'm trying to say, kind of in real time, the same way as the film, in a director's commentary, like voiceover track.
Wait, do you think we should reverse and describe our own films?
We could.
I just
try
realized that.
Yeah, all right.
I didn't really give a
Or we
great
could jam- we
answer
could
right
jam.
there.
Because you were so confident, you're like, I got yours.
Yeah, I
know
thought
what-
so
I know
until
what
I
the
started
fuck it
talking.
is. Whatever. Sure.
Okay, my my film is called it's called Young People, Old People, and Nothing in Between, and it's about a 7-year-old girl named Juice, who does everything to try Alzheimer's from developing, and her best friend, her non-blood related grandma named Grandma Lovely. So she writes note cards, like with questions like, "Who is Juice? Where's our home?" And then presents her with these like, like challenges to like keep her memory intact, because the kid doesn't understand Alzheimer's and why this is happening to the grandma, and just can't comprehend why she's starting to lose her memory. And then one day she goes missing, and so she has to find her. But it's less about like finding her and more about the emotional like coming to terms that she has to come to, and what she has to sacrifice for like her love and comfort of her grandmother.
I mean,
Did you watch it? Okay, sorry.
I did, yes.
I mean, the
Now I'll describe them both.
and then it'll be someone else. We're just going to point to somebody who, and especially if you haven't seen the film, that'll make it even better.
Yeah, piece it together now.
So for me, your film is like the genuine connection, if I may.
Wait, what's
May I?
your film? Okay,
Your
sure.
your film. I don't know. The young people, old people, everything, nothing in between. I was watching your film and I'm like, oh, she made the cinematically. I think I sent this to you in an email, but like the cinematically narrative, emotionally connective version of the film I wish I was making. For like, your film is this. You're in the moment with characters that are expressing things, and we're finding connection between them, and it feels real. And they're both actors are incredible, and you've created this like really rich, real space and these moments that were incepted into, and it's just it's so touching and personal, but also feels like casually effortless in the way it's without setup of stuff. Nice words. It's an exceptional film. Playing tomorrow or Friday? Saturday.
I mean, I felt that way about your film too. Yeah. But wait, I want to. Sorry, I feel. Wait.
Let's talk about your film.
No, you didn't describe yours
No,
through
his
your
film.
lens.
Oh yeah, that's true. We didn't. Yeah, we didn't. You didn't get to do your own tee up.
Oh, me?
Yes.
No, I wanted you to talk about your film.
My film.
Yeah, I don't know. The film.
My film is about a
No
panel.
one sent me your
Oh, I
film.
like it.
No, I don't have anything to discuss.
Did you not watch his film?
No one sent me your film.
Oh yeah, so there's
Oh,
okay,
man.
so it's about there's these toys, and there one is a cowboy and it is the boy's favorite, but eventually there becomes this space toy. I wrote Toy Story. I don't have a film. I'm just here for this conversation. But I did watch both of yours, and I did find them beautiful and kind of paralleled in an interesting way. Obviously very, very different. I'm wondering, because they're very different, but they both share an experience with a child and a grandparent figure. And I'm wondering how you guys came to those in the idea stage of like when you knew you wanted to make this? And I guess for you, that's kind of a two-parter because it's the original, and then when you decided you wanted to go about it how you did on the second run around. So yeah, I guess we could start with you, Prita, just in terms of like what this idea looked like in the development phase and how you decided that you wanted to make a film about it.
Okay, so I grew up with a woman who took care of me for about 14 years of my life. And then when I went back to Thailand to work, so I was born and raised in LA. And between undergrad and grad school, I went to work in Bangkok for 3 years. And I met her, and I was really excited. I had heard that she developed like some form of Alzheimer's, but I had never had like a close family member or person like develop any form of memory loss before. So that was my first encounter with like someone I really loved that had developed Alzheimer's. And so she couldn't remember who I am, or she would only momentarily remember who I was. And then like she'd call me by my mom's name and then my name. And I was just like so heartbroken. I felt like in the first 10 minutes I was like, I'm definitely gonna get her to remember. Like she'll definitely remember.
How old were you?
Well, this happened maybe like 26. And so I felt like I was just like looking at her across the restaurant table, and I just so badly wanted her to like remember who I was, but she just had like memory lapse between like being like, yeah, I know exactly who you are, and then saying like, oh, remember I saved you from the river when I jumped in and I saved you. It's a good thing I was such a good swimmer. And I was like, no, that's my mom. She's like, oh yeah, of course, you know. And so I was just like so heartbroken, and I just like, it was a whole new type of pain. I just remember looking at her and being like, wow, like Jesus, like I could have all the money in the world and I still couldn't bring her back or like get her to remember. I think I like my face was just like, you know, like I was trying to smile and like like talk to her in a cheery manner, and I think that's what was even more heartbreaking was like she's a very lively and cheerful woman, and even in her forgetfulness she was very lively and cheerful, and I don't know, I feel like I had to be lively and cheerful back too, and I think you see that reflected, and that's probably like the heart, like the core of the heartbreak right there. So that was my inspiration. It was like just like that like maybe last dinner I had with her, and then she passed away during COVID in 2020, and then I couldn't even attend her funeral. I had to like go to her virtual funeral. So yeah, but the movie is like a celebration of her life and the kids' friendship and her friendship which is inspired by like my days growing up with her and all the stories she told me, and all the French fries she fried extra for me, stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's actually like a comedy.
Yeah, and it's very sweet.
Yeah.
That's what I was gonna say about your film. It's like so joyful. It's so if people haven't seen it, it's like here's a film about Alzheimer's and this person who's lost. But I'm like, it's really fucking funny. It's so especially Grandma Lovely, which I mean, as a name alone is just wonderful, which is self-described essentially with her. But it's got so much. She's got so much humor and light and joy that she's putting out into the world, and you can't help but be in that kid's position and fall in love with her, and that choice to tell the story that way, which is maybe true to life or true to who you are as a person, filmmaker, in communicating ideas. I don't know. Can you speak to that? I don't know. Should we keep going?
I feel like maybe you should talk about your
right,
film too.
All right. Let's circle back to that, to the use of humor in our films.
Got it.
My film started out as it was a 10-year journey of making this fucking thing. So it started out with there's a playwright in Toronto named Aurora de Pena whose work is fucking amazing, and it's like I love it, and I watch her plays, and I go there, and I'm like, ha ha ha, this is good, and they're all delightful romps. theatrical romps of people speaking in odd inflections and young people doing stuff. And like, haha, 3/4 of the way through the film, you're like, oh wait, this is about this. And it just like, all of a sudden the weight of everything and a little nods of things crushes you. And like, oh wait, no, this is all about this heavy subject. And it just hits even harder. And I'm like, I want that for my film. So we started talking about this film 10 years ago, and she was writing drafts, and I'm like, I just love stuff in your voice. I want to have it in your voice, and like here's the stuff that's been going on, and it's the themes have circled around for my whole creative career, but I haven't dove in the middle. Like, help me get there. And then she came back with something where she, invested herself into it as well. And then I looked at it and went like, no, that's not me, and that's not right. And then so we started like going back and forth with it, and then. In the midst of that, something unexpected happened, and this film I was making about generational trauma, I was going to have a son, and the idea that I wouldn't talk about how this generational trauma would affect the next generation became disingenuous to not explore that fully and dive in. So the film changed, and that's sort of the first time the film changed, because the original film was this kid and his grandfather and their relationship. And then so once I knew that the film had to include my son, then it was like, okay, well, here's me as a kid, here's this other kid, how do I get there? And then, so I started going through that, which worked into some other issues growing up and some suicide attempts, and then looking back, trying to, in the process of making it even longer, looking back at my parents and what they went through and thinking about them as kids and how could I look at that compassionately. All the while still not wanting to, like, this might be common in people trying to make experimental Holocaust movies with an animatronic deer creature that is summoned from the depths of hell. It might be common that they try and just like put in everything, and like there's this desperation to put in all these ideas and have this mess. So as it changed, and it changed again when my grandfather passed away, and that needed to be in the film, and then when the film got rejected from a festival, I ended up like, oh, I'm shit and garbage, this sucks. And then I started talking about that and decided that seemed interesting, and I hadn't seen a film that also included self-reflection about making the film during the film.
Yeah, me either, yeah.
Which some people get and some people don't. And like it's when it plays, it does really well, but I also don't know if programmers are watching something being like, this film got rejected from festivals. They're like, next. So, but I mean, audience is just like, wait, what? This is how you're beginning a movie? And so I tried to be as vulnerable as possible in talking about stuff and talk about how I was not vulnerable during some of the process, or had this struggle to be vulnerable, and trying to be transparent with all those hopes and fears, but also trying to do it with a hint of comedy or expectations.
I was just saying hello.
Oh, okay, that was 5 minutes. Like, you have 5. Wrap it up.
Oh, you have a question?
Wrap it up.
Yeah. I just want to say I loved your film.
Oh, thank you.
I really did. And I wondered how you decided, if you decided up front to do drama, because somebody suggested to me about my film that also was rejected a lot. And but I wasn't quite ready to do that, where you had a dramatic script and you put your own voice through it. It actually was quite challenging to do that. And to be fair, if somebody had ever said that to me up front, in terms of reading a synopsis of your film, I would like, really? How will you do that? So, like you talk about logistical details in your film, like, like the lighting and the wardrobe, and then I decided this is kind of in the midst of a really intense story. So.
Yeah, I mean, that was sort of a misdirect too, like to try and get you away from what was happening in the scene and to let you go like, oh, there's this guy droning on. I mean, that's got a few punchlines of just like I've let everybody down if I haven't conveyed this properly, but then also there's a Nazi attack that you're maybe not expecting in that moment, and so it's the balance editorially was like, when am I talking, when am I not talking? Too little was not working either, so it's like trying to find the balance. But I mean, this film there's like 100 different versions of this film, and like,
Right.
And some of them got accepted to festivals before it was this version. And then I got a call from a festival being like, yeah, we're playing your film and like there's this weird director's commentary track. I can't figure out how to turn it off. And like, yeah, sorry, that's the film now. I didn't mean to. Thank you. Did I answer any questions? I probably
Yeah.
answered something.
Yeah, definitely. It was because there's part of during when you're discussing it about at the midpoint, you're talking about, you know, a very normal creative struggle of like being vulnerable and how that comes off and how people are and kind of leaving it in the hands of other people to get it or not get it. And then there's another layer of vulnerability because you're like, now I'm going to literally talk myself over this. And was that trickier, or had you not gotten over it, but did you feel more able to handle that?
No, I was crying in the closet. Like that was during my voiceovers. I was just like bawling emotionally because I'm just trying to be. A script didn't work, so I had to watch it again and again and again and just talk about it while I was watching it and sort of pull pieces out of it. And it became less about there's a level of like. I'm not a successful filmmaker because I can't craft a film that is you're invoking something out of it.
Are you
Just
pointing
shut up
at
and
me?
take it. It's like you're making. The thing I wanted to do was make a film and have a scene that is conveying something emotionally. And then I'm like, no, this is what this scene is about. Like, you're not. So there's something in that is also I'm okay with it being a misdirect because. I think there's stuff in between this is what the scene is and then seeing the visual and then you adding it up to something different within that. I think if you're watching, hopefully. And my big takeaway of it is that it's all a mess, but it's better to talk about in a mess than to not talk about it at all. Like that's kind of the big thing. And hopefully the melange of archival footage and animation and animatronics and vulnerability adds up to something new and interesting.
Definitely. Did yours change at any point during the edit or a lot during the script writing phase? Was there any major changes that you found with your film?
Well, editing was like a 6-month. Well, I had to squish it down to 4 because I had to graduate. Yeah, but then after that, I worked on it more because it was 6 months. But I didn't do like a cool director's cut version. I thought it was great, and I've never seen it before. I mean that.
Thank you.
Okay, so I think I landed in Thailand in December 2021 with like a second script, and I had to get it done, shoot by March to graduate, and in that compressed time, I had a few changes. Like I ended the story with cows, whereas the first draft didn't have that. But my producer was very generous about that and let me end the story with cows. But other than that, no, not much.
What do you mean? Like, I understand that the cows just showed up, but like, why would your producer fight you on that?
Well, I didn't really give her like a massive budget that I would think was fair to ask cows of, but she made it happen anyway. Anyway, it didn't change much. It was just me trying to get the story correct and convey the emotions as well as I could. When I say change, I just mean multiple versions and editing, but I think that's pretty normal. So
Yeah, totally.
nothing very like extremely significant and genre changing.
This is kind of a light question that I think might be fun. The director's cut, or not the director's cut, but the director's commentary is something that in the DVD era was so big. And I used to, like, if I watched a movie and I loved it, I would always watch the director's cut ever. I'm wondering if you guys did that and if you have any funny, or not even necessarily funny, but something you heard in one of those that you thought was really great. I'll give you a moment to think, I guess, because there's one in Armageddon. I don't know if you guys know this, but it's unbelievable.
I mean, there's the Conan one with the famous one. Arnold is just like, "Oh, this is the part where I punch the camel." And they're like, "No, Arnold, it's coming. It's not this part." It's like, then all through the film, it's like, "No, it's coming up now. This is the part where I punch the camel." And then eventually, I don't know the director commentary for that.
Oh, is there a director's commentary?
Not the same degree,
Oh, okay.
but like
Do you have one?
I honestly can't remember.
A friend was watching Scott Pilgrim, the DVD, and he did like a backup story in one of the Scott Pilgrim comics, and then he thought it would be funny because he knows the creator to just because it was being filmed in Toronto to just show up on set and just be in the background as an extra. So like at some point his friend's like, "Wait, what?" But when he put the DVD on, which is recorded before it plays anywhere at all, he's just like drawing at home because he's an illustrator, and all of a sudden he hears it's like it's not Simon Pegg. Sorry, what's the director? Why am I blanking?
Edgar Wright.
I think Edgar Wright. It's Edgar Wright and Brian Lee O'Malley and I think a couple other people in the room. Maybe Michael Cera or whatever, talking, and then they're talking about the how we did it and all that, and then Brian Lee O'Malley's interrupting Edgar Wright. Like, wait, is my friend Steve? Steve, is that Steve? And like, oh, my name's coming from the TV. What? And then he's like, Edgar Wright's like, yeah, and then it goes over back to something else. He's like, oh, there he is again. There's Steve again. It's like, how the fuck did Steve get in this movie? I was waiting for. So it's like a life hack. You can like hack the. You don't need those.
I don't. That's actually not. Those are not questions. That's just a big note that says "believe in yourself."
Milk,
Do you-
eggs.
Yeah, sure. I don't know if you guys know the Armageddon one, but Ben Affleck asked Michael Bay why it's easier to teach oil drillers how to be astronauts instead of teaching astronauts how to drill for oil. And Michael Bay says, "Shut the fuck up." It's really horrible, but it's so funny. This is a question for both of you. I think that a film set is one of the very rare workplaces that there is a large range of ages there doing the same job. It's one of the only workplaces that is like that. So I'm wondering if you can speak to that in terms of directing, both someone elderly and, a child, and maybe if you had any fun anecdotes about like what they were actually talking about on set in between takes or anything like that you'd like to share.
Yeah, I'm curious about yours. Like, how much was just like I'm gonna set up a moment and then just let them go? Because like even that first opening is great, where they're just hanging out and she's so good. Like, how much of that was just ad lib in your film?
It was 100% ad lib. It
Really?
opens with it opens with the 7-year-old filming a video of her and her grandma, just kind of like if she were gonna do like a daily blog about me and my best friend. Originally, it was written where she was interviewing her for a class project, and I was just completely failing as a director for that entire half morning because I could not get them to have this kind of chemistry, and I had to establish that they were best friends within the first 2 minutes of the film.
Right.
And so, like, I was on set, and I was like, this is just not working. Like I had her with the video camera stand here, and then Grandma Lovely in a chair here, and she was doing like a project interview, and I was just like, okay, let's take a break. I'm not getting what I need to get, and I'm stuck. And then I gave her my iPhone 5, which is her prop, but it's a working phone. So then I was like, go take some selfies. But then I turn around and like, she started this video and is starting to ad lib and improv the entire introduction that I need.
Right.
And she's 7.
Right. So is she ad libbing there, or is she just being
she's
7?
She's ad libbing. Like, she took all the factors I needed her, like to say her name, her age, who this grandma is in relation to her.
Yeah.
Ask her grandma if she has a sibling, where she's from. I was just like turned the other way from the set, and I was like, what am I gonna do? And then I hear her ad-libbing with the camera like this, and then the grandma starts responding in character.
Oh, it's magic.
You can actually see the half of my head. Yeah, because I wasn't ready. I was like, what's going on? Like, is she performing the scene? And the sound guy wasn't even ready. And like, so the footage is like iPhone 5S footage and audio. And it wasn't planned. I think someone was just trying to save me, because without that intro, it's just like I don't have it. But yeah, you can see the tip of my forehead. And then
I did not
when I
notice.
realized like what's going on, that it's actually might be usable, I just like duck out. But you can see.
Sure.
You can
Such a wonderful movie magic moment, though. It's so
Yeah.
it's so good.
yeah, I didn't do anything.
No, but that's it. But no. You used it, and then you also didn't cut from it. It's a super long take, and that's you've chosen it.
To be honest, it was because I had nothing else, but
Well,
I just got so
I think
extremely lucky.
I'm supposed to be the self-deprecating director here. Like, you're just stepping all over my thing. It's just own that it's amazing. It's a great choice.
It put us on the
It's the
same
right
path
choice. I
for a
guess
reason,
I think so. Yeah, I guess. What are you looking at me for?
Oh, sorry, I had the same question for you.
Oh,
yeah. No, it's same reasons. Always just asking questions.
sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Sorry, yeah, sorry. Yeah, just like kind of about working with a cast that has a variety of age ranges and how that worked.
I guess ours. I wish we had the space for more improv there. It worked great. You know, I mean, my kid was 3-ish, and he's in the last shot of the film, and he's got to crawl up onto a bed, and like a one shot as like the camera's dollying in, and like we've slipped, like a main kid leaves the room, we got to pan over, put a box there that wasn't there before, and then clock around as a 3-year-old tries to negotiate getting on top of a bed, crawling around and hitting a mark while the camera goes around to reveal there's now someone in a corner where he wasn't in the same wide shot, which is a great, easy idea. And then, you know, I think he's like 3 or 4 takes. He's pretty good. Like, he's just like, take. I'm like, hey, just don't look back at the camera. He's like, I know, Dad. I know I'm supposed to open the box. Like, come on, I know what I'm supposed to do. I'm like, okay, fine. So yeah, he was good, and just embracing the stumble of him, and just, I don't know, embracing the imperfections. Both my actors were actors, and they were both good, and they're both they were who they were. I worked with a 10-year-old on a feature recently who is. I was doing a self-funded micro-budget film in my grandfather's house after he passed away, and writing this thing from scratch really quickly as a feature. Like, I don't know what kind of kid I'm going to get, so I'm going to make the kid is nonverbal. This is going to be like, so whatever happens, they'll just be able to emote, whatever. And I end up with this amazing, magical kid who is incredible at stuff, but we'd be in my grandfather's basement, an old sewing room, and then the scene would be somewhere else talking. In the background, she would go at this sewing table and look over, you know, find a knife, pick it up, and like have a little smile and put it back down. Like, oh my God, you just said so much with that character that you've defined your character in a way that was way more clear that I couldn't have written at all. Like, you're just saying your kid did a thing that they took it upon themselves. But yeah, for me, it was just like, I wanted the next day to sit down with them and do like an inside the actor's studio and be like, okay, so when you picked up that knife, what was going through your head? It's like, well, I wanted my character to do, I was going to show that she's kind of like looking for ways out and knows how to be safe. And it's like, she's like, okay, I gotta remember where that is. I'm like, that's really good, because you showed that expressively without any kind of words. And like, yeah, it's a great choice.
Lovely.
Trust the children.
Well, that's nice.
Yeah, can you talk about finding your Grandma Lovely, or casting both of them?
I found both of them on Facebook, and it was their first short film, or film in general. They've done like maybe like a few commercials, maybe with like one line or something like that. But I just lucked out. I like crazy lucked out. I don't
Did you
know.
put them together for a while first?
I put them together for the first, like, oh, you're auditioning together, but really in my head, I was like, I have no other options. You guys are the best. And then thankfully it just worked out. But it was so clear during auditions that, like, oh my, like, you know, I had the grandma do the scene where she has to like shake her boobs to make the kid laugh.
Yeah.
And so I was meeting all these random like 60, 70-year-old Thai grandmas online that were sent to me by my producer. and then they had to do this scene where they had to shake their boobs, and she was just like, she just she didn't care.
Love
Like
it.
she just kept shaking her boobs, and I was like, "Are you not shy about it?" She's like, "Why would I be shy? They're just boobs." And I was like, "You got the part."
Oh my God, that's awesome.
I was like, "Let me think about." No, I was like, "Great," but I was in my head. I was like, "You got the part," because everyone else was, understandably very hesitant to shake their boob.
Oh my God.
But she was also like the only one who remembered like 2 pages straight. So that was also there. But I was just that was just awesome, like the person who also memorized 2 pages straight and didn't mess up at all was also the person who was willing to just shake their boobs for how many takes I wanted.
She's so funny. She's
Yeah.
really great.
Strangely, my grandfather, or that guy who's playing my grandfather, comes out of the ground covered in oil, and his boobs kind of shake.
Yeah, I had that question right there. Actually, I was gonna get to it.
Sorry, I was
No,
disrespectful
it's
to
okay.
cut
I
you
think
off.
we are out of time.
you,
Yeah,
it's okay.
unfortunately. You guys, round of applause for the filmmakers, and thank you guys so much for coming by and chatting. And congrats on 2 beautiful films. And hope you enjoy your time in St. John's.
Thank you.
There we go.
Woo!